In this video, we look at Agiliron's point-of-sale sales channel, commonly called the POS. The POS channel is used for selling in brick-and-mortar stores or at mobile locations like trade shows, kiosks, events, stores in a vehicle, or any tent and table situation. In short, the POS channel enables face-to-face selling anywhere you can take an iPad, an Android tablet, an iPhone, or of course a laptop or desktop. But the heart and soul will always be the brick-and-mortar retail store. The Agiliron suite automatically delivers real-time sales and inventory information at all selling locations. It can even be used in the field with field sales personnel, irrespective of whether the salesperson physically delivers the purchased products from their trunk to the buyer or has the goods shipped from a company shipping location. Also, field salespeople can use it irrespective of whether the buyer is a corporate customer with a special specific price, a charge account with a credit line and monthly invoicing, or just a simple credit card transaction with a line item or order discount. Agiliron's POS is a cloud-based, or more precisely, is SaaS, which stands for Software as a Service. What this means for you is that the Agiliron suite only requires a browser to operate. It runs on Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, Apple Safari, or Microsoft Edge. You also need a live internet connection to initially log in to your Agiliron instance. But after logging in, you can even lose your internet connection, intentionally or unintentionally, and you can still do transactions on the POS channel while disconnected from the internet, with all your products available to you. Details on that will come later. But suffices to say for now, the POS channel is extraordinarily flexible. Use it anywhere, for as many selling locations as you need, on PC, Mac, iPad or iPhone, and Android, and even if you lose your internet connection. Speaking of flexibility, the Agiliron POS screen itself is called responsive. Being responsive means the POS screen automatically adjusts itself to the size and resolution of the hardware device it is running on. The POS screen operates on desktop and laptop PCs or Macs, but it also works on tablets like the iPad and Android tablets and smartphones like the iPhone. This means that anywhere your customer walks, your sales clerk can go right with them, with pad or smartphone in hand, providing service and making the sale right on the spot, with the customer at their side. The Agiliron POS comes with a special sales clerk user login, which has been designed and optimized specifically for a sales clerk's needs. The sales clerk screen is designed to be very easy to learn and use because retail store staff can come and go. And with all due respect, in some retail stores, the sales clerks are not always the most highly trained staff in the firm. So the design objective was to keep it easy to use. Secondly, the POS sales clerk login screen is optimized for fast checkout because no customer likes standing in lines. In summary, the POS sales clerk login is easy and fast. We will show you in this video the many ways you can configure the POS sales clerk screen with functionality for the wide variety of selling situations our customers encountered. But the general design principle has been to not overburden the sales clerk or their screen interface with all the breadth and depth of functionality the full Agiliron suite has. The broad and deep functionality is better suited for the general user logins, which are covered in separate videos. The Agiliron approach has been to provide all the selling functionality that a sales clerk needs in order to make face-to-face transactions with customers. Enough background, now to the nitty-gritty. We start this demo by going to the Settings section up here in the right corner, then scrolling down to the Channels section. On the screen that comes up, you will notice a drop-down menu here with the list of all the different multiple channels we support. Beyond just POS, which we are discussing in depth in this video, we have integrated all the major forms of e-commerce like B2C web stores, B2B web stores, eBay and Amazon marketplaces, and several third-party web store adapters if you already have a web store built with BigCommerce, Magento, Shopify, or WooCommerce. And there are separate videos that cover these other integrated sales channels. Here, adding a new retail POS channel is as simple as selecting the retail POS type of channel from this drop-down menu and then clicking the New Channel button. That simple click brings up this screen with a list of POS configuration options you will want to pick from, and then your POS channel is added to your system. So let's look at those basic configuration options. The name of the retail store, the inventory location that supports this store, that was previously set up as a stock location. The tax authority, which selects the tax rate that will apply to orders at this store's location. The pricing that will apply in this store. Price books in Agiliron are similar to price levels in QuickBooks. Price books can be quite simple, like one retail price fits all, or quite complex, like price books organized by customer, by location, by channel, by time of year, or all of the above. You use whatever pricing model makes sense for your business, whether simple or complex. Number of checkout lanes at this retail store. The method for handling customer receipts. If you are at a retail location with a printer attached, then print is the right choice. But if you are at a trade show with an iPad, iPhone, email, or none might be the one you select. So the initial creation of a POS channel is done. It was straightforward to do. And you can create any number of these POS channels, one for each retail location or mobile location you have. Please note that if you are adding multiple stores, you need to create one POS channel for each of your retail stores. Now that our POS channel has been created, we can further refine it with more configuration choices. We just click Edit on this channel and it shows us some added configuration elements. For now, we will only configure the payments to accept credit cards and leave the rest with the defaults that the channel comes with. We will use Mercury Pay for the purposes of this demo. Intuit Payment Services works the same way. We will set up the Mercury Pay credentials and save the channel. Next, we add a sales clerk user login so we can demonstrate doing a hypothetical transaction in our new POS channel. As before, we go to the Settings section up here to the right, but this time we go to Users and select the user type, Retail Sales Associate POS, and click Add. We fill in the form with the sales clerk's name, username, email address, default store location, and save it. Now we set the password, and an email is sent automatically by the system to the sales clerk's email address with their login credentials. Next, let's go through a simple transaction checkout process from start to finish using the POS channel, just as a sales clerk might. First, we log into the POS using POS Sales Clerk login name and password. On the login screen, the sales clerk selects their store location and lane number. This allows for automatic sales tracking by sales clerk, by store location, and even by lane. Also remember, since the POS is responsive, the screen will automatically fill the browser window. Once the sales clerk logs in, you can see the quick access buttons on the left that allow for quick selection of chosen products. This can be put to good use for your most frequently sold products. Products can also be selected by entering the product name or product code into the text field and selecting from the drop-down, or by scanning with a barcode scanner. After all the products being purchased have been entered, you can make any quantity, discount or pricing adjustments by clicking on the respective field. The panel below shows the order breakdown. The taxes are added automatically based on the tax authority set during our configuration setup earlier. Finally, you can select the payment type and click Checkout to complete the transaction. For cash transactions, you can click the Cash Receive field and enter the amount tendered by the customer. The system will then display the change due to customer in the Change Due field. The sales clerk can collect customer information, capturing it in the appropriate customer fields. In this case, the POS order is then associated with that customer record. Upon checkout, a receipt is sent to the printer if the receipt option was set as print for this channel, or email if the receipt option was set to email. And the POS is now ready for a new transaction. The orders automatically flow into Agiliron's back office and are displayed under Orders. You will notice in the subject line here that all orders include the name of the sales channel they come from and lane information as well. If we go into one of these orders, we can review key details the order has captured. Any of this data can then be filtered on for customer reviews and reports. For example, you see here in the channel field of the order the information needed so you can create custom views and reports that filter on channel ID and give you channel-based insights. Or another example, You also see here in the Assigned to field of the order the name of the sales clerk who made the sale, so you can create custom views and reports that filter on sales clerk name and help you measure performance or calculate commissions. As we scroll down, you can see the payment information, the product line items that were purchased along with any discounts, shipping charges, and taxes. Having all your orders from all your channels, from all your salespeople, integrated with all your product items and CRM data, all in one integrated suite, with custom views and reports just for your business, is very useful. The Agiliron suite provides management with a powerful and comprehensive 360-degree view that can help them manage the business better. Now that we have completed a POS order from start to finish, let's look at a few additional elements of the POS that you can add to a transaction. First, you can add order level discounts. This can be dollars off or percentage off. As a default, it is treated as a dollar off amount, but if you want a percentage off discount, add a percentage sign at the end. Or for even more advanced reporting, you can use a discount code which is applied to the entire order and then shows under the coupon category in the transaction summary. You can then use that data to easily create custom views and reports. Coupons can be easily set up in the back office with the appropriate discount levels for selection in the POS. Second, if there are any particular details about any order that need to be captured, the sales clerk can use the Order Notes field. It is a catch-all mechanism that will then get displayed in the description field in the back office when the order gets captured there. Third, the Agiliron POS channel supports all the categories of payments: cash, check, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, gift cards, and other cards. The other cards can be used to capture all other card types like, for example, Discover. Finally, and importantly for many, there is a method of payment called Charge to Account, which will capture the amount as something the customer owes you, and you will invoice the customer later. This is of course useful for a whole variety of customer situations, like corporate customers, contractors, and many B2B selling situations. The sales clerk simply goes to the Customer Selection drop-down display here to pick either select a specific contact person at the account or just the general account itself. Both are available here. Let's now do another transaction from start to finish, but this time we will scan the items by using a barcode scanner. You see the line items get added to the transactions as we scan the barcodes. The cursor is still in the product text field, which is where it always returns after completion of any operation on the POS, so it is ready to select scan the next product or swipe a credit card. Next, we will use a credit card swiper to swipe the customer credit card. Notice that we did not have to select a payment method first. The system automatically detects it's a credit card tender and fills in the card details into the payment panel and the customer name into the customer field. All we have to do now is complete checkout. This final step triggers the card to be processed using your selected payment processor, and the receipt is generated. In the Agiliron POS, you just select the products being purchased, swipe the card and click Checkout, and you are done. Agiliron's POS also, of course, does sales returns. The sales clerk simply clicks on the Sales Return button here in the left panel. The dialog that comes up allows the sales clerk to enter the original sales transaction number, which will then bring up all the details of the original transaction and allow you to process the sales return easily. We will enter the sales transaction number in the text field and click OK. You can see that the system filled in all the details from the order that we had run earlier, including the payment details. If the entire order is being returned, you can click the Checkout button to complete the return. If only part of the order is being returned, you can make the necessary changes to the line items and then complete the checkout. For credit card orders, the return amount is returned back to the credit card used during the original sales transaction. On checkout, a sales return order is created in the back office, which can then be found under Orders and Sales Returns tab, which we see here. If the sales clerk needs to review a previous sales transaction or reprint a receipt, they can easily click the Review Sales button in the left panel and enter the sales transaction number in the dialog. We will enter the sales transaction number in the text field and hit OK. You can see that the system filled in all the details from the sales transaction that we had run earlier, including the payment details. The sales clerk could now just click the Reprint button to reprint a receipt for this order. Next, we will show some additional configurable capabilities that are available in the POS channel. Let's start with the configuration controls that management, like the store manager for instance, has over what the sales clerk can and cannot do. Here in the channel configuration screen, you can turn on or turn off the ability for sales clerks to do any or all of the following. Make price changes from the assigned product pricing, give discounts to customers, accept sales returns. We'll continue showing the breadth of POS configuration options. On this receipt options screen, you can configure the receipt options that are available, such as electronic signature, which is especially useful if you're running the POS on tablets or smartphone without receipt printers for paper signatures. Gift receipts and duplicate receipts. If this is selected, the POS will prompt the sales clerk during every transaction whether to print based on the customer's request. On the inventory options screen, you can control the display of inventory information to the sales clerk. And lastly, here on the pricing options screen, you can enable customer-specific pricing, which is critical in B2B selling situations where you might have preferential pricing for higher volume customers, and sale pricing in the buy X for Y format with its associated parameters. This is where you can create a buy one get one free, for example. In the beginning of this demo, we mentioned that field salespeople can use the POS channel while on the road and can take an order while on the road and indicate they want the order shipped from a company shipping location as opposed to personally delivering the product to the customer right on the spot from inventory in their trunk. Now we're going to show you how that is actually done. Incidentally, this exact same feature can be very useful for a brick-and-mortar store or mobile stores as well, for those situations when the customer wants the product shipped to them instead of taking it with them. As with the previous configuration options, we will first go, as we have before, to the Settings section, then to the Channel Setup, then here to Edit the POS channel in Configuration. We will simply change the shipping option to Yes. When we do that, you will see that the system then requires you to use an auto sales tax rate provider for this capability to be turned on. This is necessary so that the correct sales tax rate can be determined based on the shipping address of the customer for this ship order. Save the channel. Now let's go back to the POS, and you will see that there are two new fields added next to the coupon discount fields: a checkbox to designate if this is a ship order, and a field to include a shipping charge that will be added to the customer's transaction total. When you check the Ship Order checkbox, the system first prompts you to select a customer with a valid shipping address if you have not done so already. You can do this from the Customer text field as we do here, or you can add a new customer by clicking the plus button. We will then add the ship charge in the field provided, complete the transaction payment and checkout. Done. That was simple enough. Now let's shift from being a sales clerk that is logged into the POS in the store or on the road and switch to being a general Agiliron system user that is logged in to the Agiliron back office and pull up the ship order we just took in the Orders module. You will notice that the status of this order is not marked as having been shipped already, and the shipping field has the ship charge that was added to the transaction. If you go to the shipping module here, you will see all the sales orders awaiting fulfillment there. The list of all available orders that are ready to ship now includes the ship order we just placed from the POS. You can work now with these orders one at a time, or all at once, or anything in between. One last thing to point out here is that when the ship order was taken in the POS, an email notification confirming the order could have been automatically sent to the customer if we had configured auto notifications for POS ship orders to occur. Again, here in the Settings section and under Notification Schedulers, we can check these checkboxes to configure the POS ship orders to automatically send email notifications for order confirmation when the order is placed, and shipping confirmation email when it is marked as shipped. Then the system will automatically send both order and ship confirmation emails to the customer's email address. Now let's look at reports in the POS. Reports in the POS can be turned on in the Configuration section by going again to Settings section, then to the Channel section, and finally to the Edit the POS channel in Configuration. Here we set the Allow Reports field to Yes and save the channel. Then let's log into the POS again. The left panel of the POS now shows a new button here for reports. If you click the Reports button, the available reports are shown and the user can select which one they want. The X Out report provides an update on sales up to that point in the day. The Z-Out Store Close report provides a summary of sales for the day and is run at the end of the day. The Z-Out Aggregate report provides an aggregate of Z-Out reports from a selected date range. The Sales Detail report gives a spreadsheet with details of individual transactions. Let's run each one of these and see what they look like. If we run the X-Out report, it generates a report with the day's sales. If we run the Z-Out report, it asks for the date. The default is set to today, but if you had forgotten to run it the previous day, you can select that date and run it too. If we run the Z-Out Aggregate report, you get to select a date range. The default is set to last month, but this can be modified. It will generate the aggregate numbers in the Z-Out report format for the selected date range. The Sales Detail report produces a spreadsheet with columns of information for each of the individual transactions. You can change the date range of the report. You can apply filters on each of the individual columns to narrow the results, and you can print or email the report. Next, let's look at the offline capability that is available with the Agiliron POS. That is how the POS operates when it is not connected to the Internet. This capability is available in Agiliron to support you in 3 possible scenarios. First, in the event your Internet connection goes down, you want to still continue to process customer transactions. Granted, these days broadband Internet is pretty reliable and it's easy to add a redundant backup Internet connection using a hotspot from a mobile Internet device. But the offline capability provides one added level of insurance against a business disruption. The second scenario is when you're going to a location where Internet access may not be available, like a trade show or an outdoor market, and you need to accept transactions there. With the offline feature, you do not have to fret over Internet access availability at the event. The third scenario is if you have a slow Internet connection and you have a line of customers waiting and transaction speed becomes critical. In that situation, going offline gets you around that bottleneck. With the offline capability, you can continue to run customer transactions and then process payment and sync the transactions to the Agiliron servers when the Internet is back and reliable. We will walk through the process now. Let's again log in as a general user into the back office. Go again here to the Settings section and the Channel section and edit the POS channel. Here in the POS channel configuration screen, we simply turn on the offline capability. Next, we log into the POS channel as a sales clerk, and here we now have 2 additional buttons on the top right. When you mouse over them, one says Online and the other says Sync to Server. Let's click the Online button to go offline. The button now turns red. We can run a transaction just like we did previously, but you are now operating offline. All the information is stored in your browser for transfer to the server later. Receipt will print just as before. Once we complete the transaction, you will see that the Sync to Server button turns red, indicating there are transactions pending to be synced to the server. Let's click on the Sync to Server button. The dialog box that appears gives us details on the transaction that was run offline, complete with credit card info. And there is a Process button here to process the card once you are online. We will leave this transaction as not synced to server and walk through a few interruption scenarios. We log out and log back in. And as hoped, the Sync to Server dialog still has that pending transaction. Next, let's close the web browser and open it again and log into the POS. And as expected, the Sync to Server dialog still remembers the pending transaction. Let's try logging out and logging in as another sales clerk. Again, no problem. The transaction is still in memory. That's called Gumby-proof. We do not want you to lose any of those offline transactions. So now that we're confident about the persistence of the offline transaction, let's finally sync it to the server. With credit card transactions, there is a Process button to process the card since we now have Internet connectivity. If the credit card process is successful, we get a green Process button. But let's add 2 more challenges to the transactions in order to cover some disappointing scenarios. Credit card error. In this case, the card did not process, so you will need to contact the customer to get another card. And second, we do not process the card here in the POS. So let's click the Sync to Back Office button and see what happens when we get in the back office with each of these 3 orders. When we log in as a general user into the back office and go to the Orders module, we see the 3 orders we just synced to back office. If we look at the first order, the status shows paid and the authorization number captured from the credit card that was processed. We should also observe that the created time is different than the modified time in the order details. The created time shows the time the transaction was processed with the customer, and the modified time shows the time it was synced to the server. The second order, the one with the credit card error, shows status as not paid, and this needs to be processed after receiving new card info from the customer. The description field captures the error message received from the payment processor. The third order, the one with the credit card that was not processed, also shows the status as not paid, and we now have the opportunity to process it here. So let's go ahead and do that. Now it also shows paid and processed. That completes a quick overview of the offline capability. Certainly, brick-and-mortar retailers can relax and breathe a sigh of relief with Agiliron, knowing their retail store transactions cannot be interrupted by internet connection loss or slowdown. That's one area of nervousness that can be put to rest about this cloud POS. Lastly, let's summarize the hardware requirements for the Agiliron POS here on the screen. Minimally, you need an internet connection and a device with a web browser. We recommend Google Chrome, but we are tested also on Firefox, Safari, and Edge. If the device is a desktop or laptop PC or Mac, then any credit card swiper, barcode scanner, and receipt printer that plugs into the USB port on your desktop laptop should work just fine. If you plan to use a cash drawer, you can purchase one that is compatible with the chosen receipt printer because the printing of the receipt will then trigger the opening of the cash drawer. If you are using the Agiliron POS on a tablet or smartphone like the iPad or iPhone, note the specific devices and models supported for those mobile apps on the screen. You are also required to install the apps from the App Store for those mobile devices. You can go to the App Store and search for Agiliron to find the POS app. That concludes this demo on the POS channel. There is still more we could show, but we wanted this video to be a summary of the major elements of the POS channel. We invite you to pick what's next most relevant for your tire-kicking process from our library at the Learning Center at agiliron.com. We have an ever-growing library of very substantive demo tutorials that are packed with product information and are without any question whatsoever the most efficient way for you to learn about the Agiliron suite. We have demo tutorials for our e-commerce channels, for our new customer onboarding process, for multi-channel commerce in general, as well as those covering the core of the back-end system for product, inventory, CRM, and more.